like,
you ever think about how annoying it is when people are really indecisive, but like, but when you're indecisive, you're like, oh, please understand that I'm indecisive. You know, like whenever I was dealing with those people, I don't want to say dealing. Whenever I was helping those people at the end of my shift today, I had like 10 minutes. I had to really take a shit. Like it just felt like this. The stress was
Grandma,
there. You know?
if you're listening,
please don't. Yeah, please don't. No, but you know, it just felt like there were so many factors in the situation. My feet were killing me. Like I was so tired, and then these people were being indecisive, and that was so hard for me to be understanding of that.
Yeah.
Like I get being indecisive. I'm indecisive sometimes, but like holy shit, I have to go take a dump. Like please, just choose a fucking shoe and get out. You know. This is fucking.
I was gonna add to that. Like that's how my girlfriend is. You know, she's pretty indecisive. So whenever I feel like, oh, why do I gotta pick where we go eat and like yada. Because I'm like that too. More not because like I'm indecisive, but because I genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to eat somewhere and I say I don't care, I genuinely mean it. Just like pick 5
Have you
places.
seen those like things where people are like, yeah, I don't care, but you like mentioned it was like, man, I want Mexican food today, or like, no, I don't want Mexican food. It was like you just said you didn't care, like.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's the worst when people are like, oh, I don't care, and then you throw options out there and they go,
You're like, no. I was like, okay, what about Chinese? They're like, no. Indian?
what do you want?
I was like, okay, we're just gonna go get Starbucks.
Starbucks, jeez, how do you
Coffee,
go for
dude.
that? Yeah.
I don't know, like sometimes
you know,
just gotta
Starbucks
do it.
food isn't bad. It's just stupid expensive.
Oh
like,
yeah.
for what they're serving.
Like if I want to get a drink or like some sort of bread thing, it's like $10 right there.
Really?
Like, yeah, dude. You get like your.
Their bagels aren't too expensive.
Okay.
You could
bagels,
get a dozen
but
for the
you-
price of one anywhere else, but like
Oh, that's true.
Kroger or whatever. But I think that's what it is with everything. Like,
Yeah.
I like Winco bagels. Speaking about bagels,
I've never
like,
been to
if-
Winco.
if you go to
Winco's in
Winco-
Presidio, right?
You're missing out.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, Winco's like
Fire.
super good.
You know what? My
Bulk
bandmate
foods.
Joe, he told me that I'm sleeping on Sprouts when it comes to sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
Like Sprouts has some really fucking
Like,
good
They
sandwiches.
make their own sandwiches.
Yeah,
they do.
apparently.
Sometimes they're really slow, but
Yeah, but like I went to Subway. He's like, why'd you go to Subway? That's the worst place to go get a sandwich. I'm like,
I
what's
like
better?
Subway.
And he's just like, he's like, yeah, he was like Jimmy John's, Firehouse, and then he goes like Sprouts. I'm like, the fuck, Sprouts? Like, what do you mean Sprouts? That's a grocery store. He's like, yeah, they make sandwiches and they'll make it
Yeah, but
exactly
then
how you
it's
want
like-
it, and shit's cheap.
Yeah.
It's good stuff though.
yeah, I like Subway. Like sometimes they have a veggie patty. Not all of them have it, but some of
That
them
sounds
like.
so gross.
No, it's actually like it's okay. I'm vegetarian, so.
Oh,
I'm
you're
like-
a vegetarian? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so I'm vegetarian, and so sometimes like you go to Subway and you're just like, yeah, I want the Italian bread, cheese, no meat, or like just the lettuce and tomato.
So
and
you
it's
want
just-
all salami?
Yeah, basically, and
Bacon
so
on
like,
top.
but some of them have like the veggie patty.
No
and
bun,
it's,
just
like,
bacon.
and it's full of calories and
Get-
protein and
get
everything,
to
which
that,
is what I'm
this
trying to
isn't
include in
vegan.
my diet. So it's
Um,
really like filler. Actually, it's pretty good. They're alright. I like them.
anyways, that started off as a serious topic and segued into just talking about sandwiches. But like, anyway, welcome back to the podcast. This is the podcast.
This is the second.
This is the second
longer
full-length one, right?
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last couple episodes have been what we're calling pocket podcasts. So they're podcasts that are a little bit shorter in length. And they're typically going to be based around specific
certain-
topics.
Yeah, like
Topic or
like one
theme.
specific thing.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like short and like focus on that, so
Yeah.
we can get like quick, get the
Keep
point
it
across.
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
And it'll
most
be-
podcasts are topical anyway. So like,
Yeah.
what differentiates us is that we're literally just talking.
Yeah.
Um,
But the last two, we talked about high school versus college,
Yeah.
as well as surreal experiences. So if you missed that, make sure to check them out. I'm pretty sure we'll link those in the description.
For
they
sure.
can do
Yeah,
description.
I'll definitely link the other one
Yeah.
since I'm uploading this one. But
Cool. What were some of the things? I wasn't there for the podcast. Joey and Cameron were there.
Oh, we keep skipping through that one step. Okay, well, I am Cameron.
Oh, yeah,
Caleb's
that's
here as
Cameron.
well.
Caleb's
Oh, yeah.
here, and then it's
Yeah,
me,
and
Joseph,
Joey.
or Joey, or whatever.
It's
else.
us three,
Okay.
unlike the last one where it was two of us.
Yeah.
So
We
sometimes
always blow through that, and people are like, "Who is talking?"
Oops. Yeah.
Boomsted.
I'm the one that sounds like McLovin.
Yeah, like, it's easy to differentiate Caleb. It's not easy to differentiate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But
What were you saying? Oh,
no,
No,
but
but-
yeah. What did
were
we
some
talk
of-
about?
Yeah. What were some? Because I wasn't present for the podcast.
yeah, we talked about. As far as the first episode, we
Mhm.
talked about high school versus college. We just talked about Rate My Professor.
Oh, yeah.
I know that was
Yeah.
one thing I remember. We talked
Honestly,
about
It's a great tool.
Yeah, we talked
It
about
does help.
really just the main differences.
I talked about how less social I am in college than I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I think it's a proximity thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, yeah, I mean, I just got, like, done. I'm not done with my winter semester, but I'm basically done being in the class.
Yeah.
Because I just have to take a couple of exams and turn in an essay. But I didn't really talk to anybody. You know, like, it's not for lack of, like, I'm close to these people. It's, I don't see these people all the time, every day, every week. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
me, Cameron, Noah, and Carter, we had the same lunch, like, every other day.
Yeah.
Or every day, honestly. So it was like,
You see the people a lot.
yeah. But I even though I saw these people a lot, it wasn't to the level that high school was, which I thought was really interesting. Because I definitely thought I was going to meet and be social with a lot more people.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll change
Sorry,
in my
the
spring
cat's hanging
semester.
Can't
Because
skip
I'm
it.
going to be hanging out at the college a lot more spring semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a second.
No, that makes
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Like
Yeah.
even with I think the only thing that some of the classrooms when they did get really social was like group projects. To get if you had a good group, like honestly, it's really hard to get a good group of people who like care about.
Jeez, is that your?
No, it's like a notification. Excuse me.
That is the worst notification tone I've ever heard.
It's I had a race car game on my phone.
Oh, really?
I was
Back-
playing it earlier.
you know, back when I gave a shit about staying up for people and texting and stuff like that, I set my text tone to like this little dude. He's like, message, and then it would like get louder as time goes on. And but now I don't give a shit. My phone's on do not disturb all the time, and I'm knocked out.
Yeah, I know because every time I call you, I have to call twice.
Yeah,
Call twice to call.
yeah. I always feel bad about that, but I never take it off do not disturb. I don't care.
It's just something you forget.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're like, oh, you called me. I was like, I should turn my volume back up or something.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this is the last thing, and then we'll get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But me, I have trouble waking up in the morning. I have an alarm clock,
Oh.
and I set my alarms to death metal.
Smart.
I wake up and I'm like, good morning, and it's like,
It kicks in.
But sometimes it doesn't even like touch
Oh,
me,
yeah,
bro. I'm
dude,
just
like- I'll look at my phone and it's like 5:35 and my alarm set
Do
for
you
like 5:15.
Do you remember in like 5th or 6th grade when we made like as a class we made the My Little Pony parody? My little pony, skinny and bony, stuck in a barbed wire fence. Yeah.
Yo, that's a
Or some shit like that. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know who made it up, but I heard it. And when you were just like, good morning, and I was just like, my little pony, skinny and bony. Like, just fucking.
Jeez, bro. Honestly,
Dang.
That's awful.
bro, music parodies that are like metal over the top are.
Have you ever heard the
Those-
metal Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
No,
Not
there's
heard.
That's
Okay, I'll
hilarious.
be real. There's this one
I
band.
heard a remix of Rudolph. It was actually pretty good. I was listening
Dude,
to it. I
have
was
you
like,
seen,
oh,
have you seen
man.
Into the Spider? This is still super off topic. Have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
No, I haven't.
Ah,
I've
shit,
actually,
they have a okay. So
I've been wanting to see that movie
it's a good
so
movie,
badly.
but there's it's like there's a scene was like, look, I did this, I made a Christmas album, and then the Christmas album, they actually legit made a Christmas album for the movie, and it is so fucking funny. One of the songs is like "Joy to the World" that I just saved.
Bro.
Bro.
Oh,
There's
they
this-
talked about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I cut you off. My bad. There's this one band. You may have heard of them. Fame on Fire.
Mhm.
They made like EXO to a Life, like the song "All My Friends Are Dead."
Oh yeah.
Push Me to the Edge.
Oh,
And
my
they,
friends
they,
are dead.
they made a Kanye West Lil Pump that song. They made like a rock metal version.
Dang.
I didn't even know that could happen. But shout out to them. They're fire.
Hit or miss. I definitely hit or miss.
Dang,
But you know what? We need
Different
to
songs.
bring up TikToks. We need to talk about
Oh,
TikTok
yeah.
is fucking awful.
Dang.
I love it.
Dude, even like some of the songs that did like remixes and stuff, they were talking about changing some of the song names.
Mhm.
So like in Colorado, they were talking about it's because like the weed thing. So
the weed thing.
Yeah, that thing that's going on
The
with
whole,
the
like,
hemp.
they were changing like the names of the songs. So instead of Angels We Have Heard, it was like Angels We Have Heard While High. Instead of,
Oh, Angels We've Heard on High.
Instead of
Yeah,
Angels
it's
We
good.
Have Heard on High, it was like While
Jeez,
High.
bro.
I was like, dude, I straight lost it. I was driving. They had like a couple other names I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was funny.
One more thing, because I think we're going in the right direction on music.
Yeah, I was just about to say
But
that.
we talked a little bit about the first podcast. And the second podcast, we
The
talked
second
about
podcast got a lot
surreal
creepier.
experiences. If you guys want to hear some paranormal stuff, make sure to check that one out.
Oh, yeah.
And I have another story,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'll
you
save
had
that.
something-
I will save that for later.
Later, okay.
I'm
I don't
gonna,
know, but,
you know what, one of these pocket podcasts that we're gonna do, like, if we're really gonna surround a ghost story, I'm gonna look up, I've read so many, and I would love to talk about it.
I try to
Cause shit
stay
gets
away
freaky
from that.
deaky.
I can't do freaky stuff. I can't
You
do
know,
horror movies either.
I can't do horror
I
movies, but
stay like
I'm gonna be
strictly
real
away
with you.
from it.
I love horror movies,
fuck that.
but listen, hear
Something's
me
wrong
out.
with you.
Shut up. I'm white.
What? It's nothing to do with
See,
anything.
we Hispanics are sensible enough.
No, you know it's always the white person in the movie that's like, you know, hears a noise in the
Let's
forest.
split
and
up.
they're like, I'm gonna investigate.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna go alone.
Oh,
And then you
dude,
hear,
it's always
"Ah!" in the background.
Sometimes it's like always like the white girl that like runs and like hides under the bed. I'm like, hello, he's gonna get you. Like,
Oh my gosh, under the bed. No.
he's like, okay, now you're just asking.
But that's
for
why
it.
I remember that. So yeah, but I love horror movies. But that thing that happened the other day, I don't mess with that. Like, you know, whenever it's like real life and you experience that, that's when you're just like,
Shit gets freaky.
about that.
Hey, we were just talking about
I'm
this.
in danger.
Satan,
Coincidence?
back off now. Thanks.
Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not.
I pulled out my handy dandy crucifix. And,
Pull out my pocket Bible.
be gone, Satan.
Hey, you like
but-
the cross thing, Santa Maria? Dude, like the whole like up down across the chest.
Absolutely triggered right now.
Sorry, no offense.
I need to
Anyway,
Total.
what the fuck? We were definitely heading in the right direction. Then we got off.
Yeah. This is bad. We need, bro. I think I have like low key ADHD, just like somewhere in there, cause like,
that's just how easy a conversation flows. Honestly,
but all the time. I was thinking about that today in church, cause my thought process. That should tell you. That should tell you.
I was about to say
You're
about to
in
prove
church.
you're about to prove yourself right.
Yeah.
Like,
Because my thoughts go all over the place. Like I bounce from like
Oh, dude, same.
one thing, and I cannot stay like. I haven't been tested or anything, but I feel like deep down. I don't know if I want to get tested. because
deep down, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to take medication, but.
Oh, yeah, dude,
this is
me,
about
that's
to
why
get into a serious conversation.
I did like the self-diagnosis. I was like, all right.
WebMD.
The only thing
You've got a brain tumor.
I'm sure if I changed my diet, I could somehow like fix it.
My head hurts, brain tumor. Oh shit.
Yeah, my toe scratches. You've got a brain tumor. What?
No, the one thing I
That is
was that
scratches, not itches. The fuck am I Canadian?
Speaking about like feet, I heard there was this.
Oh, God.
This is like super like wait.
Jesus
You got me.
Christ.
speaking of feet.
This like happened.
I've got some.
popped on
Send me
my
feet
head.
pics.
No, there's like sometimes they talk about how like you rub like garlic or something like on your feet and like
45
it makes
okay.
your breath like smell like garlic.
Ew.
It's actually for real. It's like I tested it
You
out.
know, I'm not about to test that.
I'm not.
Wait,
well,
you did what?
No, but like
You stuck
there
your
was- I
foot
didn't.
on
I
a
didn't
piece
do
of
it.
garlic or
Like, no. Like someone
rolled
was
it around between his toes.
Okay, Shrek.
No, but
Get
like,
out to me, swamp.
yeah, dude. Or if you have like stinky feet, dude, like lemon or something. It's like straight up.
I don't know if that works
I mean,
for like
it's-
everything.
It does.
Anyway,
Hold on, guess what's in my shoe?
I've got lemons in my shoe.
No, there was a- Dude, it was just like these weird.
It's like you're about to get laid. You just like take off your shoes, like, pew, and all the lemons fall out.
Dude,
Don't worry, it's for hygiene.
I don't do that. I've never
Like,
done
it's a
it.
lemon.
But it's like there's always like people
that
that
all
would
day
like talk
keeps
to
the
me about
doctor.
like having these weird remedies or like, oh yeah, you do the lemon thing or like you put it in your sock overnight and like you'll suddenly have like a clear throat
You know,
and just like oh something popped into.
I don't know. If you have a lemon in your sock, you'll suddenly have a clear throat.
I'm being
Yeah.
dead serious, dude.
Sure.
This
Yeah, I
stuff
don't do
I have
voodoo.
heard.
That's like wearing a pair of wet socks when you're hungover and you'll wake up sober.
Or like drinking
believe
ginger
it.
tea, it like apparently helps too because ginger's really good for you. Dude, I've
How the
heard.
fuck are we
like-
almost 15 minutes in and we haven't even talked about the topic of conversation?
Yeah.
Start. It's rewind time.
You know what I want? Fortnite. With whatever whoever
for
the
real,
fuck
for real.
was.
I actually don't have Fortnite.
Jesus.
I
Okay,
know.
we're done. We are done.
Sorry, the
Moving
podcast
on.
is ending now.
So something we all agree on talking about, and
Oh, yeah.
we were going in the direction earlier.
We
until
really
took
were.
A sharp
We were
left.
you shouldn't have fucking mentioned it.
Yeah, we hit a U-turn.
That's why I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh, we're actually kind of naturally getting there.
But I wanted to mention.
Sorry,
I wanted
really
to
threw it
mention.
off
No,
with
I
the
wanted to mention.
sandwiches and the garlic.
With
feet.
the fucking lemon sock.
I wanted to mention the Pocket Podcast before we hopped into it though, so that's why I was like, detour.
It took a
me and the ghost in my house are homies now.
Yeah, fuck that.
Gotta
Are you
go.
gonna tell us the story, or are you gonna like keep leading this on?
No, let's save it for
Yeah,
another.
yeah, bro. We
podcast.
need to
You're
talk about the
saving
topic we're supposed to
This
talk about.
topic-
The topic at hand.
And
My hand. Why is it on fire?
No, but we wanted to talk about the glorification of celebrities, or why
Oh, yeah.
why people glorify them, in our opinions.
Yeah,
on
definitely.
that.
Or like, just
Let's start with the worst one of them all, the Queen of England. I'm just kidding.
Kim Kardashian.
There's no fucking, what is it? There's no Easter Bunny, there's no Tooth Fairy, and there's no Queen of England. Have you ever seen Megamind? that's from Megamind. I saw a meme, it's like, there's no Tooth Fairy, there's no Easter Bunny, and there is no Wyoming.
Jeez.
oh
Oh my
man.
goodness. See, we're just
I
about
love-
to get there.
I
We're
love
going
that
to
meme.
like, we're on the road. We're going to solid like 50 miles an hour, and then Siri's like, take it right now.
Hit a
So-
big bump
Yeah.
to like slide into the ditch and start like spitting.
No, but for real, let's talk about.
I'm gonna preface this whole conversation by saying, in my opinion, that not all celebrities, but a lot of celebrities fucking suck.
Yeah.
And that's not that's just an accurate representation of almost all of humanity. We all fucking suck, but it's like, oh my god, why are we putting these people who suck
Literally.
on pedestal?
Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian.
They're not trying to call anybody out, but
To mention my name. Here's my list. No, but it's like, you ever think about that? You ever
yeah,
fucking think
dude,
about that?
like honestly, like just the constant like media and like the broadcasting of like
Fuck,
oh
I hate
they
the word
did
media at this point.
they honestly it's kind of annoying.
Fake
But
news.
like fake
Ugh,
news.
stop.
It's just
I can't hear that anymore. It's just, oh, it's bad.
The
Sorry,
broadcasting
sorry,
of like everything going on, they're like, oh yeah, this person did this person did
False
this.
false
I was
current
like, dude,
events.
I do not
I
care.
think as far as media goes, it's just like 99% of the time we don't hear it from the source. It's like
oh yeah,
what
that's
someone
true.
else like pulled apart from their conversation or whatever,
Yeah,
and they put it into a blog post or they put it into a video.
you read it and then someone comments and then they talk about it and then you like Google it to make sure, or you just like go with it. Sometimes I'm just like, oh shit, is that true? I was like, bro, let me check that out. But I try to stay away from it because sometimes I feel like not even social media, but like keeping up with like all these things going on can really time consuming sometimes. Like you really lose track of it.
Oh, trust
and
me, I
you're
know.
just like this happened to this person. I was like, no way, like they were this person and like they broke up. I was like, bro, I didn't even know they were together.
I started looking at this stuff, and then like halfway through, I just like look away from my phone for a second. I'm like, is this really benefiting me? Do I really need to know this?
Do I care
Like-
that they got who was the person that they broke up and they were like back together and then
Miley Cyrus and Liam
Oh.
Neeson? Not Neeson.
no Cardi B or
Oh, it was like
Oh,
fucking
Cardi B
Offset
and
and Cardi.
yeah Cardi B and Offset.
And then they like showed up at her concert and fucked up her whole
Oh,
performance.
yeah. I saw that.
Let's be real. That whole like.
That's
thing-
get romantic.
No. I think that whole thing was fake.
Probably.
I think it's all fake.
It was staged.
Yeah, because
Well, I mean, it was on stage.
We fucking got him. Who is this man?
no, but for real,
That's a
like
slapper.
they broke up because he was cheating or whatever. But I'm pretty sure he cheated in the past, or he had been like alleged cheating. So they broke up for that.
Are you actually looking it up?
I'm googling it. I'm trying to get my facts
We need to
straight.
get the facts right. But
Keep
so
going.
they
I'm
broke
gonna
up,
Google this.
and then everyone like started freaking out about it, and then that's when he like showed up to her concert or whatever. So I was like, okay, if he really did this and this wasn't fake, she would be like full force against this, right?
No, she was. I saw a video.
She
of
was
it.
for a sec, but then like a live stream, a couple hours later, she was talking about how she missed his dick,
Oh yeah, I
and
saw
she was
that.
talking about how she missed, like, dude, it was.
Dick so bomb, you know?
Yeah, and she was talking. It was. I'm not gonna go into detail, but
I saw that.
she was talking about that, and then there was a picture taken of them in Puerto Rico, and
Yeah,
they were like
got
on a
together.
jet ski or whatever. I'm like, this is so much bullshit. And like honestly, I don't think the label for Cardi B would have let Offset on stage at Rolling Loud in front of all those people.
Probably not.
I think they would have like fought it a little bit, and it wouldn't have just like smooth transition to the next person. Like, I don't know.
You fucking.
But
you
like I
fucking
said,
knows,
we
man.
talk about all this, but does it really matter?
Honestly, like now that you guys are talking about that, and I went and Googled like the whole like Cardi B and Offset thing, and they like actually have a timeline here of like everything. It's like what's it
Someone
called?
actually
It
cares about
says
this.
like they actually made this and they took time. It's like a complete timeline of Cardi B and Offset's complicated relationship, starting from January 2017. It goes on through like all of 20, like things that they dated, things they did, like when they split up, what they did, and I'm just like scrolling down. Like it continues to like
Their tweets and stuff.
2018 and like
Jeez.
I'm like bro like.
But that's the thing, like
The fact that we just spend so much time like focused
consuming that shit.
on like other people's lives, and I mean like I do kind of like appreciate like people like sometimes they make good music or whatever,
Yeah.
other like artists, and I'm like okay like thank you, like I'll support you in your music and like appreciate it and I'll listen to it or whatever, but like whenever you start like their lives and your like I think like even like all the attention that they get from the outside world really interferes with their personal life as well. Like if
Well, their lives are that.
Like,
that
there are-
now. Like,
exactly.
there's a whole fucking reality show based on the lives of the Kardashians because they just can't live
Okay.
theirs in peace anymore.
Who
Exactly.
the
Well, I
fuck
mean,
watches that?
they fucking feed
I
off of
don't
that shit anyway. I know a lot of people who
and they
do.
do, and like you now have to like have drama or like it could be like one simple thing and becomes like 20 times bigger because there's like media and then like blow up and now they have to do like
you know,
talk about it.
I want to give a little bit of advice to like the people listening, right? Or not advice, but just something I like to do,
Think
you know,
about.
or just like sit down and like make it. I make little to-do lists just on like sticky notes, and it holds you accountable to avoid like paying attention to all the stuff that doesn't really matter, right? I like to I think it's. I'm not saying cut out all entertainment because I think everyone
Yeah.
needs a bit of entertainment, right? But
That's true.
the constant the more you feed that desire for entertainment, you get so consumed by it, and I like to watch things and read things and do things that are better than me. You know,
That's true.
I think about like that.
Self-development.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like it may not be as entertaining, but in the long run, you know, it's not just wasted time on 3 hours watching the Kardashians.
No, I've never watched their show. Sorry, for my support. It's not even that. Like, I just don't have like time. Like, even being a college student and stuff. Like, we guys are talking about like college and like like time management is so key, and like I really
we
don't
talked
need
about that a little bit.
another distraction through like focusing.
That's another thing
on
with
other
that, like
things. Like,
like so-
how does what they do affect you?
yeah, social media and stuff can be such a positive thing because we talked about that,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah, in the last podcast.
the first
we did talk
podcast.
about-
But it can be such a negative thing too, just because it's so right there. Like all these apps are free, and right in your face.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
and
Everything with moderation, I think, is anything, you know.
That's fine. Like, anything in moderation is fine.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I think, personally, like, I've met celebrities. They're normal people. They're only the way they are is because we put them in that position.
That's
and
true.
like, it's the same thing if we were to put ourselves in a position of leadership in a project. You put yourself there. You thrusted yourself importance onto yourself, or at least perceived importance onto yourself because you took the lead on that.
yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing with celebrities, and that shit bothers me because we're giving this influence and this. We respect celebrities' opinions a lot. You see like presidential political
Yeah.
political campaigns. They get celebrities to endorse them because we, as a general populace,
Yeah.
give a shit about what they're saying, even though what they're saying could be completely
It's like-
horrible and wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of
But we
like that
care
whole
about
like
it.
giving what's it called, support to like products. What was how Oprah Winfrey or whatever, she will try to like stay away from like announcing brands, but like one time like she announced like sometimes like she did like talk about it, she's like yes like this brand is great, like their sales just like skyrocketed, like everybody's going to them.
It's crazy
It's
how
like
much
one
of an
person said that.
influence
Yeah.
those people
But
can have on.
It's very true what you say, like celebrities like are humans too, like they're people, they have
I've never lost my mind meeting a celebrity. I met I've met Bowling for Soup. I don't know that you guys listen to them, but they're a Denton-based band. Like they're really big in the punk genre. I've met them 2 or 3 times. They're just dudes. I like to talk to them like they're just normal people. I have a hat somewhere signed by them, and that still means nothing to me. I just have it. You know, it's just cool to have. I try not to really set these celebrities as some big idols.
Pedestal.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever idolized anybody like that.
I think
and
it's,
I don't know if it was like a conscious decision to do that or a subconscious thing that I just knew that these people are people and that they have problems like I do, and it's like it's fucking whatever.
I think it's I think it's good to like respect the people
Yeah.
for like getting to the position they are, but I don't think it's ever a good idea to idolize them.
Yeah.
You know.
Because when you're idolizing something, you view it as infallible, that it can't
that's
do anything
true.
wrong, and that creates a dangerous precedent for anybody following that because they think they can get away with their bullshit.
Everyone's human. You know.
When it fucking comes to like SoundCloud rappers like 6ix9ine in fucking
I can talk about this all day.
shit like that. Like
Alright, let's go.
they're doing all this bullshit, all these illegal actions. They're making these mistakes. Like if you want a much simpler, a little bit more relatable of an example, like Justin Bieber, like 5-10 years ago, was getting DUIs and doing a shit ton of drugs and driving drunk and shit. Like it's just awful. He was making all these decisions, all these horrible decisions to the detriment of society, and we're like, he's a kid. Let's fucking give him a break. Blah blah blah. You don't hold these people accountable, and that fucking sucks. You know.
I feel like sometimes, like even like at such like young age and like getting all that, I guess, attention or like for example, like I know somebody, a good friend, and you know, they got really not power hungry, but you know, they started working, they started like making bank or whatever. They made like a lot of money for like their age. You know, they were like 17.
Shit, a lot of money to me is like $1,000.
Yeah, no, they were working over the summer. They made like 10 grand.
Wow, holy
But
shit.
I mean, they were working tons of hours, and I was gonna go over there too, but I wasn't able to because I was working in concrete here. But like just like coming back, and you know, they bought a car, and they started burning out. They got like tattoos because they had the money, and they started like doing like all this like bunch of other stuff. And I was like, dude, like you're
that kind
that's
of
like them having that money there, and then you're kind of like it changes the way you think, and like I can see how they've changed.
You know-
they've act different.
Do you know what power, like by definition, is?
And let me Google it real quick.
I can't tell you word for
I'm
word.
just
But
kidding.
power. No, I can't tell you word for word. But power, to me, like, and this is what I've been taught, is power is potential of choice.
Yeah.
What makes you powerful is the fact that you can do something. Like Superman. He's this big, like he just has an icon. He's this big, powerful, super buff superhero that can do whatever the fuck he wants because he has the abilities to do it.
Yeah.
So when you're rich and famous and whatever, you have all this potential to either do good or do horrible things and be selfish and just be destructive. You know, and it's so easy to do the latter.
Yeah.
Because you are able to do it. It's a lot harder to do good things. It
really
really is.
Also, like the influence, like peer pressure, like everything going on, and like music today, like even when like some like songs they talk about like certain things, and like why is that like okay?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about like
And I
doing illegal.
I could talk about that because
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just like
I've been listening to hip hop and rap for a while. Obviously, you know, not since like the 90s or whatever.
yeah.
So I haven't listened to much like OG rap, I'm not gonna lie. But I first started getting into it whenever it started like making a little bit of that transition. When I'm not saying I have the rights to speak on the culture because I think, you know, that would kind of, I haven't dealt with a lot of the stuff firsthand that they talk about.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't talk about, you know, or I can't criticize a lot of the things that they talk about because they live that. A lot of them do live that. But I started listening to like Chief Keef, Lil Wayne and them like 2015, in that general like time frame. Sorry, my throat's getting jacked up. I think those allergies are starting to kick in. But you know, and I've kind of seen it progress. You know, and it's just that certain things are just seen as cool, and you know, I'm guilty of listening to that stuff a lot of times too, because I mean, when production's good, man, and a beat sounds like crazy and different, I'm all on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll listen to rappers, and
There's nothing inherently wrong with that, though.
Yeah.
Like you are entertained by that. You like it.
Yeah,
you know?
but no, I'm saying like, what I'm getting at is like the things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like even though like directly it may not have an influence, subconsciously
it starts to seep into your decision making,
Yeah.
the way you perceive things.
it does. And you know, I heard this saying, and I'm gonna try to get this right, but like, if you take a bath in food coloring, you're gonna come out that color. So
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of one of those things. Like
Yeah.
the more you listen to, and you start to surround yourself with, you can say like it doesn't have an influence on you, but like at the end of the day, subconsciously,
Yeah. It
you know,
really does.
you're gonna start using their slang, or you're gonna start, you know, understanding more what they're talking about and pay attention to it more.
Honestly,
So-
like, there's so many big things that have come out just from music alone. Like,
Yeah.
you'll hear,
And
like, a song, and, like, dance moves will come out, like, lyrics, sayings,
bro, think about that Block
terms,
Boy JB with his, you know, the shoot dance.
Yeah, and, like,
whatever.
even, like, what do they call it? I can't remember the word. Not abbreviations, but, like,
Slang, like
slang. But, like, YOLO and, like, other stuff
Yeah,
that,
that's,
like, they
that's
talk
slang,
about
it's colloquialism.
yeah.
that word. But...
Oh, there are a bunch of new ones coming.
Yeah,
out
but
right
like they're all coming out, and you can kind of see, like you were saying, like the different raps and how they've changed from back then. How a lot of the raps, it was kind of like, I feel like a lot of them was a way of getting out the message of like what's happening.
now.
It was a reflecting. It was like
But
real
now I
type of
think
situations.
now it's becoming like cool instead of like
It's just
trying-
talking about like different. It's mumble rap, and it's talking about like different things, and half of them are like talking about like drunks getting wasted and girls, like. That seems to
Yeah.
be the whole. I mean, like obviously there's some that are different, and money too. But like,
you
Yeah.
forgot the big thing.
yeah, the money. But like, within those raps, like they're not really telling a story. They're just like going crazy and like.
And I could bring that back to things that like benefit you. You know,
Yeah.
I love music, and
I do too.
I will tell you, I love good production. Like I listen to like dance music and metal, and I listen to rap and like metal rap and all these different like genres, and I appreciate good production and like
Yeah.
beats that just sound like crazy and different, something you've never heard, like a bass that's super distorted, or like, you know, those.
Yeah.
I can always have appreciation for those.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I
It's
forgot-
always nice to have something fresh and different, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I
Trying
forgot I was going somewhere with that,
Oh.
and then I completely spaced it. So
So
Going back to
what are we at?
we're like 32 minutes. Going back to the whole idea of power corrupts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People, there's this thing called the self-interest principle, where you're not going to do anything to the detriment of yourself and the things that will benefit you. So, an example of this, my government teacher, I won't say names, my government teacher was, he's a legal immigrant. He came here legally, he had to do this test, they asked him a bunch of questions, he passed, blah, 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 whatever. And he was sitting there in the room with, and there was an Asian man next to him being questioned by another guy. And the questions that the Asian man answered 4 or 5 times the amount of questions that my teacher did. All these questions were hardcore, like specific ass questions. If you don't answer these questions correctly, you even get one wrong, you're out of here, type shit. You know?
Yes.
And my teacher thought it was the most unfair thing in the world. Like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, well, why are you doing that? But he didn't step out or say anything because he was acting out of his self-interest of his own immigration. And, like, that's reasonable, you know?
Yeah.
So when it comes to having the power to either do the right thing or the wrong thing, most people will act out of self-interest and do the wrong thing. Because either it makes them feel good, they've been wanting to do it, or it's in their best interest and they don't give a shit about anybody else. And that's why you see so many celebrities acting out in these negative ways and stuff like that, because they
It's
have
benefiting them.
they have the power to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think.
I think there's a lot of pressure on them too, and sometimes all that, like you said, like that pressure and like acting out, like
Yeah.
it kind of does affect how they act.
There are
like-
some people who handle it really gracefully, though.
Yeah, there is some people, but then there's like other things like
Yeah.
they have to resort to other options. Like there's a lot of celebrities that OD'd on like drug abuse and stuff, but
Rest in peace, Lil Peep.
yeah,
Throwing it out there.
and like other people too, and it's just like the amount of stress and their pain they're going through,
Yeah.
and they're trying to keep up like this public figure because there's so much.
And they try
Like
to numb it.
There's a lot of
Exactly.
complications to a celebrity's life,
Yeah, there
despite
is.
yeah,
Because
there's
of
complicated
all
yeah.
the stuff that they're getting hit
There's,
with.
yeah, the only difference between people like us who aren't famous and people who are famous is that they have a spotlight on them,
Yeah.
and that amplifies their problems
It
because
really
their problems
does.
are no longer private.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they share it with everybody who watches them, who listens to them, who whatever, and that can have a serious toll on people. You know, imagine your friends in your personal life. You're affecting their privacy too. If you're famous, you know, like that really fucking sucks.
Yeah, and back to like the pressure point of all that. So, a lot of these artists are signed to labels, and especially you know, I pay attention mostly to like hip hop, so I see how they act. But they sign to these labels for big money, and a lot of the times
These
you know,
labels will make them act that way too.
they have to act a certain way, and they have to get those views. They have to hit those
They
numbers
have to do it.
if they want to be profitable. You know, we see all these guys with like chains and cars and all
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff, but a
dude.
lot of that stuff was probably bought by the label.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a big misconception surrounding record labels. Is that you're not making money from the label like you are from your sales and stuff like that. But one, a big portion of those sales are going straight to the label, and two, that label's making an investment in you, so they will control what you do,
Yeah.
and that fucking sucks. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of bands are practicing independent publishing now, because they don't want to go into a label that's going to treat them horribly.
Yeah,
That's not to
Yeah.
give a bad name to a bunch of labels or anything like that, but like Sony's label is trash. You know what they did with Kesha and everything like that, like held her under this fucking weight that like you can't do anything that's to the detriment of your producer because her producer raped her, and so it's like, but she couldn't do anything because she was contractually obligated to this label,
Yeah.
and so that's just one example, but.
Because her label is kind of
So
her source.
Kesha had to act whorish and slutty and drunk all the time and stuff like that because the label demanded that she did. And she's publicly said that too.
You know, as bad as that is, and we want to criticize labels. The label, like the main reason labels are out there is, you know, and the people are creating labels is to make that money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like
Money.
certain that situation, you know, like obviously, I don't condone that or anything, but a lot of these people, if they would, people typically won't look at the fine print. You know, they see the money amount. Oh, I'm signing for $1 million. Sign. You know,
Yeah.
they don't care about. They don't read into what comes with it in that contract. And then once they realize, oh, you can't do what you want, they start getting pissed and they start talking about the label and talking bad about it. But at the end of the day, you signed up for it.
Yeah.
So anybody that's getting into that, like,
But
Get
you know,
an
like
attorney.
they said, like same thing, kind of back to like the whole like celebrities and like attention and stuff. Like they sign on to that label, so it's a way for them to like get out there, so that like it just cycles back. So we're like start paying attention to them and things they do
yeah, but
because they're acting out, because whether the label makes them do that or they ask them to, because they literally make
Yeah.
money from
But
the
I-
attention that
you
we
know-
give them, not just other stuff in music.
I've seen people or artists, you know, they get to a point where, like, I think artists should think about this before they sign, or just take this into like account. You know, you have to be someone
Yeah.
before a record label even looks into signing you. They're not gonna see some random musician and be like, "Ah, yeah, I'll put $1 million on your head." You know, they see an investment, so you're seen as valuable to them. You
Yeah.
hold value, and if you made it to the point where you're being seen by these labels, you already have that attention. I say take it as far
Yeah.
independently as you can.
Yeah.
Not only are you gonna make more money,
You won't be
from that,
restricted.
yeah, you can be
Yeah.
yourself.
You can do whatever
You
the
know?
fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that you can see that's where 6ix9ine got in trouble, because not because of it. It wasn't really a label. Oh, what? Yeah, I guess it was a label thing. So there was a guy. I don't want to talk too much about this because it's like they're like gang affiliated.
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't,
We're not gonna
yeah.
go into it yet.
but no names. But he fired his whole team, quote unquote, and they got all like pissed off and stuff, and then all of a sudden he got locked up. You know, so that can show like you can't just do that. You know.
Gang affiliation is fucking wild, man. How'd you even get into that life is my question.
Well, a lot of the I mean, again, I don't think any of us have really been there. So I don't know if we can talk about that. But I think a lot of these kids, you know, they see
A lot of people are born into it.
yeah, and they see these people doing it, and they think it's the cool thing to do, and they just want someone around. You know, they want to have like people to look up to. You know, and they see that as cool, so they do that to not feel.
That was my biggest challenge.
What?
In middle school, acknowledgement, feeling as if I belonged in a certain situation, and that drove me to do a lot of things that I wouldn't normally step out and do. People underestimate that power, the power of that emotion, the longing to belong. You know, like it's such an important thing to people, because you know what happens to people whose parents abuse them and makes them feel like they're worthless and shit like that, or people who are outcasts and they don't belong to anywhere. They kill themselves, or they have psychological issues, horrible psychological issues. It really fucks people up.
Sad.
And so it drives people to do horrible shit. So like when people. And I've never been in a gang. I've never lived in that situation. So please, if anybody's listening to this, please take my shit with a grain of salt. But it's like a lot of people seeking out that belonging in a group will go to those extremes.
Yeah, and you can't. Really,
so I agree with you.
And for those reasons, you can't really blame them. You know.
You can't. It's
like
it's an understandable emotion.
And that's why I think
I hate those.
that's
words.
you know,
I know. It does.
What's
It's
up, brother?
No, but it's like it gives a sense of like brotherhood, but like
it does.
Really like brings people close, and they're like, yo, like I got you, like you're.
That's why they're so fiercely loyal to each other.
There for each other,
and that's why I feel like people can't criticize. You know, I feel like when people try to like come at these issues, as far as like gangs and whatever, I think they're coming at it the wrong way. You got to take a step back and talk about things like we just talked about, and understand where these kids are coming from and where these guys are coming from. You know, if you just try to go in and be like, all right, split them up, throw them all in prison. You know, that's not really
that, or just like straight up judging.
It
like
gets
you don't
worse
know.
too,
and that just makes them hate the system.
Exactly.
When
you don't understand what they went through or how they even got into that. Like sometimes they do have a chance, sometimes like they don't, and they're just kind of like dragged into it, and they're like, okay, well, whatever happens, like happens. You gotta go with the flow, you know. But it's just you have to, like you said, like step back and definitely like look and like realize how did this
step in their shoes for a sec.
Yeah. Exactly, and like understand what they're going through, because you never really understand like what's going on.
And that could come back to what, and that's not just for like gangs. That's for like people in general.
Oh yeah.
You know, definitely. If people are dealing with stuff, and that's why I try not to get irritated when people come at me sideways, because I'm just like, okay, if I have the chance, you know, take a step back.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from? You know, like what are they dealing with? Why are they acting this way? Is something going on at home? Is like, you know, what are the circumstances leading up to that?
Yeah, life's not out to get you, so why are you assuming it is?
Exactly.
You know? No, and we can even tie that back to celebrities. Like, one of the saddest things that I think I've ever read or seen, I don't remember which one, and I don't remember what it was about. The only thing I remember is that this person was so bent out of shape, and the reason being is because they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for the fame, the fortune. They didn't ask for all this pressure, the spotlights. They didn't want it. And that was so counter to what they wanted, you know?
Nice.
That was so counter to everything they thought they would ever need out of life. And so many people don't handle that transition well enough, and that has such horrible negative consequences against them too, and they can't vocalize that at all because it's under a spotlight. That really fucking sucks, being forced under a spotlight and being scrutinized when that's nothing you ever wanted.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of that's with child actors. You know, like they go into this acting thing and they're like, okay, it's a one-time acting gig, whatever, and then it spirals out of control, and then they're this big fucking monster celebrity.
Yeah, and if they didn't want that, you know.
They didn't want it. A lot of people can duck out of it. A lot of people have been fortunate enough to escape the spotlight and live their own life.
What are we at, by the way?
44.
44. We should probably wrap it up.
We're getting close. We just need a couple more.
Wrap it up, Dan.
I don't know. I just think, why we put these people on pedestals, I don't fucking know. And there's a mountain of fucking variables as to why we do.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of it has to do with entertainment. A lot of it has to do with I want to be this person. But I think the important part is as long as the celebrity's not a jackass, like just being a jackass for being a jackass, you have to try and understand where they're coming
Yeah,
from.
definitely.
A lot
I
of these
think that-
people, who knows if they even wanted it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I think that kind of goes. Maybe I'm off. Tell me if I'm off. But like, I think it kind of goes back to what you were talking about, like belonging. A lot of people are like always talking about that.
Mhm.
Like I, for one, I never like really kept up. Like in high school, I never really kept up well with like celebrity like shows or
Yeah.
anything. And then people were talking about that all the time, and you would join groups, and they'd be talking about some new thing that happened, and you're completely lost.
Right.
Like when people like start talking about that, and you're trying to get, like, you know, you want to belong, you kind of have to do that to belong.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like a circle and a cycle, and it's just gonna take a couple
It's a
steps to like,
never-ending thing.
yeah, it's you know, it's gonna take a couple steps to like maybe stray away with it, work on it, you know, put your priorities straight. So, you know, we have to definitely see what's going on there. But I mean, it's definitely a work in progress. It's changing, you know, generations too, just because we have the ability to do that.
Mm.
You know, with media, news, and everything.
I think just in general, you know, if celebrities and public figures focus on the betterment of others rather than
Yeah, and there are
destruction.
some. There are some.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's
you know,
always good,
it's
but,
a
you
small
know,
amount, and I understand there are complications to that, but I think, you know, small acts of kindness and, you know, good deeds to society can go a long way. So, and honestly, I respect those artists a lot more that do that. You know?
Yeah, and the thing is also is like the attention that you like they get, like you don't hear a lot of like celebrities doing good things. Like there's good celebrities, or like not even celebrities, like there's famous people who are doing really good things for like the community, helping out people like in need, but they're not getting a lot of like acknowledgement for it. But there's other people who are getting like in trouble, like locked up, or like doing crazy stuff, and so they're the ones that are getting
In the
like
spotlight.
all the attention and the spotlight, and it really kind of like, I don't know, it's crazy. And I really think if they would, maybe it would change, like not giving them attention for something bad that happened, and giving someone else the attention because
Some good
not
they did.
because something, yeah, because of, not because they're doing something good, but because of the cause. They're like, yes, we're helping out, like encourage people to help others, because there's so many people in need because of that. And that's like, that goes like always like not off straight, it's linked together, but it's like a complete another like genre within the topic.
Mhm.
Or
I see what you're
whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely something to
Celebrities are people too. And,
Definitely.
and it's our
To
choice to
wrap
put.
it all up.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's true, and our choice to put them on a pedestal is our choice, and that's going to continue to happen until the day the Earth explodes. It's just fucking sucks, but
It is what it is.
yeah, I think you just have to figure out who's worth putting on the map.
It's also a personal decision too, you know.
Mhm.
Like if you're like choosing to acknowledge like other people, like what's the saying? Some people like show me your friends and I'll show you, like what you.
The world.
No, like
I
show me
can
who your
show
friends
you
are and I'll
the
show you. I'll
world.
tell you who you'll be or whatever, because like who you surround yourself with, who you make your.
Yeah, the 5 people you're
Well-
closest to, you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
That's who you're
exactly.
gonna
So
become.
you know,
Yeah.
if you really idolize or whatever, not idolize, but you know, you put them as like a prominent figure.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, so, but yeah, I think we should definitely choose the people who we focus our attention on wisely, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Your attention is valuable, you know,
Yeah.
even if for us, you know,
Don't
listening,
waste
listening
Attention
in here.
takes time, and you only have so
don't
much of it.
waste it. You
Yeah,
know,
don't-
give it to
don't
the
waste it.
right people or people who actually deserve the attention. Because
There-
then later
yeah,
on you'll
there's-
be
there-
like, man, I missed out.
Man,
on
there's a
all
reason.
these."
There's a reason companies pay millions and millions of dollars for advertisements for people to see their product. It's because your attention is valuable.
Yeah,
Don't waste it on needless things that aren't benefiting you, not just in the long run, but you know, in the short run as well.
Yeah.
So that,
definitely.
that's my biggest thing.
Yep.
So
I
that's my
think we
big
just kind of
topic.
like wrapped it out there.
I think that's a good note to end off on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right,
It's
guys.
been a good. I think we hit it really well. I think we definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in once again. This was the second official podcast episode.
This is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
This is the podcast.
Yeah. So thank you guys once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to say? Close it out.
Stay tuned for, you know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Like, definitely go check out those other
There's
the other
a lot of-
podcasts and the small pocket podcasts that we were talking
There's
about.
a lot of things cooking right now.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of stuff we're working on.
Today
Big
is
things coming.
today's the 23rd
Yeah.
December.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah! Happy
Christmas
holidays,
Eve,
you guys!
yeah,
Merry
definitely.
Christmas!
Yes. The holidays,
I
like-
almost skipped right over that.
yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like definitely.
Shit, it doesn't feel like Christmas.
Yeah.
No, it
Merry-
doesn't.
Merry
Like,
Christmas.
Christmas Eve is tomorrow.
Yeah, happy holidays. Spend some time with the family.
Yeah, definitely enjoy your time.
Focus on shit that matters.
Especially like you
Put your phone
realize,
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like you realize your family's like in town, and like my family sometimes, for example, they'll come for like a week out of the year. I'm just like, yo, like I don't get to see them like at all during the year. Like, you know,
Yeah, don't see it as a
Cherish your
chore.
time.
Just see it
Yeah.
as time to
enjoy yourself. Enjoy
Yeah.
yourself. Spend time.
The second
cherish
it's
the
gone,
time
you're
that
gonna
you
miss it.
have
Mhm.
with them. Once they're gone, if you want, you know, do whatever, like go ahead.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
So, yeah, definitely be safe. See you too.
All right.
Yeah, don't get drunk. Be safe on New Year's. Alright, adios.
Later, guys.